Bleach Bros Podcast is proud to align itself with Jerky Pro, a beef jerky manufacturer established by military and paramilitary veterans.
Available in 3-ounce or 1-pound bags with great flavors such as honey glazed, teriyaki, red hot, apple cinnamon, original, peppered, sweet barbecue, and if you're ballsy enough, nuclear.
Be sure to use our promo code to get some of the best jerky on the market. Use Bleach Bros 5, all lowercase, to take advantage of this offer today.
Hi, I'm Johnny Hatesville, and welcome to Jackass.
Welcome into the Bleach Brothers Podcast. This is B-Word, and I am here with Johnny Hatesville, a.k.a. Jake the Hater, a.k.a. Jake the Tailgater, a.k.a. my daredevil in crime. What's going on, bud?
Not much, buddy. Just having I don't know. It's been a long week, been crazy. A lot of stuff going on. The Golden Knights might miss the playoffs, so FTGK forever for all you salty hippos out there fucking rejoicing. I love it.
Well, I know that you have a story that we're going to get into to set up today's show.
Okay.
Prior to that, you have a pretty notable event with the Vegas Golden Knights, correct?
Yeah, I'm officially banned from their official Reddit.
And how did this happen?
I mean, I'm on Reddit a lot, and here's the crappy thing. I read the rules afterwards, and I didn't know this. Now, I don't know if it says this, because I reached out to a bunch of other people on Reddit that I know, or people that are on it and talk. And shout out to that damn podcast, because they were joking with me that they haven't been banned from other ones either. But it says in the rules on Reddit, like, you can't like troll or go too hard on people, which I don't think I went too hard. I just pretty much was like, I'd hashtag FTGK, hashtag our show, say, I'm so happy you're not going to make the playoffs. Great to see. Every time they lost, I'd post on that page. Great to see you guys lose tonight. Good luck. So happy our sticker was on your puck. Stuff like that, right? Like, to me, harmless trolling. Like, I'm not going deep like I usually do. And they messaged me and said, I am officially banned. And if I try to make another account and they find out it's me, I'll be banned again. And they already reached out to all other 31 teams' official Reddits and made sure that they warned them about me, because I can be banned from other ones. I don't know.
So what's your goal as far as banning goes? Do you just want to get banned from the Vegas Golden Knights? Or
I am banned. I'm banned from their Reddit. But
do you have aspirations of being banned from other teams, or is this?
No, I have no aspiration. It just goes to show like how soft their fans and everybody is there. Because somebody was really like, oh, this guy is saying FTGK, what about my team? And then my favorite is always, well, who's your team? My team's the Blackhawks. Your team's, I don't care. I still hate your team. I can hate your team from mountains on high, and my team doesn't need to do shit. Okay, that's what people need to get the fuck over themselves. Like, what we have, this. I don't care. I don't care. I hate you so much. I
love it.
That I will. This is why I became the hater. People sometimes don't even know who my team is, because you know what? All they hear me is yell about the team that I hate. I hate the Golden Knights so much. I'm so happy people are buying our shirts. Go check them out. The FTGK movement is growing. B-word, but your boy is not allowed on the Reddit for the official Golden Knights. And now that Elon Musk is buying Twitter, they are never going to ban me from that shit. So fuck them.
Well, let's talk about other places we could potentially get banned. So you had an experience this week next to a little person.
I peed next to a midget.
And how did so walk me through this? How did this work out?
So I was going to the bathroom, draining the main vein in the men's room, and it was one of those ones with no divider, just straight up, just two urinals, big boy, little boy, right? Which I'm one of those people. I have no problem pissing in a little one, right?
Okay.
Because it hangs down. You're gonna get dribbles on your feet and everything. Well, all of a sudden I turn and there's the lollipop guild comes rolling in. Like, he's right next to me and he smiles. I'm like, hey man. He's like, ooh. He comes up and he starts peeing, and all I'm doing is going, oh shit. Like, I know how much piss is probably getting on my shoes right now, because there's no denying there's splashback. Okay. But he came right up. It's like he came right up next to Shamu, and he knew he was going to get in the wet zone, right? And I'm thinking, as a little, I mean, I don't know. I'm not a little person, right? But me being me, B-word, I had to test the theory, so I started peeing harder on purpose.
See, women don't understand that. I don't think that we have a pee harder mechanism.
Yeah, like I just started going for it, right? But
yeah.
The worst part is when you pee harder, it's noticeable. This isn't it's just you make movements. So I do it, and it starts splashing. I'm looking down, and I'm seeing it, and I just look over, and he goes, "Yeah, what the fuck, bro?" And I just went, I had to know. He goes, "No, what? What did you need to know?" And at that point, I was done. I was like, it was when keeping it real went too far. B-word. I didn't know what to say. I just apologized. He goes, "Yeah, don't worry about it." He just walked out. But here's what he didn't wash his hands. He didn't wash his hands, B-words. He didn't wash his face. He didn't wash a fucking thing. And I know some of my piss went all over that little dude.
Wow. But so you are Kelly the midget.
I R. Kelly to midget by proxy. I was testing the physics of the room. He was the weatherman for the day.
Well, that happens. And in terms of COVID, if he was wearing a face shield, he probably could have saved himself a little bit.
He could have also washed his hands. He could have if he needed me to lift him up to the sink, I would have done it, B-word. I would have done it.
I think it's a very important thing for people to wash their hands after they urine or after they shit themselves. Either way, it's a very important thing to do.
Now, there was only two things going through my head besides, I don't care if he was looking at my dick, whatever. I didn't look at his. I probably should have. I should have seen what was going on down there. No shame in that game. But the first thing is thank God I didn't use the little boy one that time. Because I'm sorry, that would have been fucking hilarious, B-word. If there was nobody in the bathroom, there's no line, there's not people waiting, and all of a sudden he walks in and I'm a big dude just standing at the tiny urinal, right? And if he would have looked over, I guarantee I would have got the what the fuck. And then I did the pee harder thing. So I'm a piece of shit for today. But it's okay, B-word. It was funny. It was an experiment. I enjoyed it.
There's a comedian who is a little person named Brad Williams. Are you familiar with him?
Oh, he's amazing.
He's so funny, and he has a set where he's talking about how he walks into the bathroom and all the urinals are taken, including the little boy urinal. Yeah. And he's just like he's bouncing behind the guy and doing the pee-pee dance. And this guy looks behind him and he's like, "Oh shit, sorry, dude." Like, at least you didn't have that scenario there. But speaking of little people, the reason why we were talking about this is because I think you and I have, if he's not your favorite, he's probably one of your favorite cast members of Jackass, Wee Man. And you and I actually got to see the Jackass Forever here recently. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that tonight. But before we get into that,
I'm going to tell you, I got to ask you a question, B-word, because we're still on the toilet talk real quick with the little people. Is it worse to be at the little boy's urinal when a little person walks in, or when you're shitting in the handicap only stall and somebody comes in that's handicapped?
That's a good question. I would say probably the little boy urinal.
Really?
Because typically if you have to pee, and especially if you have to pee really bad, mm-hmm. there's not a whole lot of grace period as far as time to try to pee.
Whereas, have more grace time with your poops, you're saying?
No, I'm just saying that a lot of times, not entirely are you going to the bathroom and getting ready to shit yourself with a turtle head poking out. What I am saying is that you might be touching cotton in a wheelchair. But it's probably not as often as you need to piss like a racehorse when you get to the urinal.
That's a good point. I always feel bad because I only feel bad if it's a bathroom with multiple stalls, and for some reason I just decide to take the giant handicap one just because there's more room.
Dude, I have no shame in taking the handicap one. I have no shame at all.
It's not just me then.
Especially in airports, because if you have to shit next to your baggage, like, you have room for your baggage.
Well, see, I hang it on the back of the door.
Well, I mean, that's fine, but I just shit in the handicap one.
Okay.
Yeah, offers more room.
All right. Well, I'll let you know. I had to ask that.
So back to the rundown here, mm-hmm. Johnny Hatesville. One thing that we did as kids is we got into quite a bit of trouble, quite a bit of shit, with our daredevilish ways when we were kids.
Yeah.
What sort of things can you brag about as an adult that you dodged death with?
There's so many, especially with my brother. It was funny. My brother called me and goes, "Oh, you guys record tonight?" I was like, "Yeah." He goes, I was telling him the rundown. He goes, "Oh man, you gonna tell that story? You gonna tell that story? You gonna tell that story?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna try to fit them all in, man." But I don't know. We did a lot of things. It was like growing up through the years. I remember we made a game called Ant Trampoline, where we would go catch fire ants in the desert, right? And we put them in a jar and we'd shake them up and we'd dump them all over the trampoline. And you had to jump and land either on your belly or your back, no shirt. And then while you were in the air, throw a shirt on and then bounce again and then try to take it off before you got stung too much. That was always a fun
That
game.
seems like a very responsible thing to do.
Oh, another one we got in trouble for with my mom. So the reason we did the intro the way we did, we were filming our own called Jackass one time in high school, and we all got in trouble for this. And I have a buddy named Fobbs. In the intro to the movie, we had him in a cage naked and we wrote Jackass on his butt and got cattle prods and we're prodding him. But I remember a few of them. One, we wrapped my brother in gasoline doused towels and lit him on fire and had him jump off my roof and hit the trampoline and then fly into the above ground pool. And my mom drove up right when we were doing it. So that was a fun yell at moment. Another one was we used to tray surf. You remember when you go to like Taco Bell or something, you'd steal the trays?
I never stole a tray,
Okay,
but I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
My brother, the reason we got the trays, my brother had a thing in high school where, I don't know if you remember this, he would show up places either naked or in his underwear to get free food.
Yeah.
Because all the women loved him. So we took him to Taco Bell that night and he walked in naked and got a, well, I mean, I think he was in a like underwear or something, but he walks in pretty much with no clothes, gets a bunch of free tacos and all the trays and brings them back. So we decided we're going to tray surf that night, but we're going to up the ante. So we did it behind my Mitsubishi Mighty Max. You remember my beast of a truck. And everybody was hanging onto the tailgate and stuff. And we're driving down the road. And I remember on the film, I think we were driving like 40 and hit a bump. And that kid got pretty beat up. So we got in trouble there. And then we got caught with the video because we went to a buddy's house. I won't name his house, but we went on like a 15 or 16-foot ladder. And my brother, Caleb, was at the very top holding on to the top. So he's standing on it and holding on to the top. And we threw it into my friend's house. And it hit the house. And my brother flew over the house and landed in the pool, but he almost missed the pool. And his little brothers and sisters saw it when we were editing it, and they wanted to repeat. So that's where we got caught. I don't know. We did stuff like that. Like we got in trouble at my house for we made a game called Flaming Tampons, where I don't know if you know this, but if you get really nice tampons, like the Tampax Pearls, and you barely push them out, you can light them on fire and shoot them across the room at each other.
I was not aware of that.
So you remember me, I was in baseball and we always had a whole crew of guys at my house all the time. So one night they are over and me and my brother explaining this to them. They're like, no shit. And well, I had a sister. So of course she has tampons. And so, but we're not going to do it in our room. So we go into her room because she's not home and we start just having this flaming tampon war. Right. Well, the same time we remember when you go to like the Harvest Fest or something, you get those Freon like glass things that you'd hold at the bottom of it. Well, we busted one of those open. So we had an open container of Freon. We have flaming tampons and a bunch of dudes jumping all over, hitting each other and going nuts, right? Well, we knocked the Freon over, light the whole floor on fire, try to put it out. Everybody's freaking out, right? So we got burn holes all on my sister's carpet. And I don't know if you remember, my sister had that dark blue, like navy carpet.
Yeah.
But you could tell all these burn holes. So my plan was I calm everybody down. I go, guys, I'm trying to be the smart one, which is still a stupid plan, but I go and get candles and I pour candle wax in all the holes in the floor, right? So my mom comes home. She goes, hey, what the hell happened upstairs? I was like, Mom, we were all having a seance and the cat came in and knocked over all the candles and lit the floor on fire. And my mom just goes, do you think I'm stupid? I go, what do you mean? She goes, you want me to believe a bunch of 14 and 15-year-old boys are having a seance in their sister's room at night while I'm gone? I'm like, yeah. And at that moment, my sister ran in and said, what the fuck happened to all my tampons? So my mom, I think that was the moment the first time I bought tampons, I had to ride to the store on my bicycle and go buy some. But I mean, that's just a few. B-word. What about you, man?
So before I get into some of the things that I've done, I'll talk to you about my feminine product moment. So do you remember when it flooded pretty good? I think we were in like 7th grade.
Yeah, I took a kayak to the gas station.
Yeah, it like was torrential rains and all this sort of stuff. So anyway, I lived on a hill, like a little hill where our house was. And I was in Beatty at the time. And the water actually dug out part of the road. Okay. And so I would ride my bike to school to and from every day. And so typically I would grab my football pads or my basketball bag or whatever the season it was, because I was playing sports, and that would be on my back. And then I would hop on my mountain bike and I'd go down the hill and I'd ride to school. And then whatever happened after school, whether it was football, basketball, whatever, I would go to that and then I would ride home. So this particular day, I think the schools were actually closed for a week and for the rain. And so I'm riding down the hill and my front tire ends up in the gash in the road on the hill, and it launches me from my bike, and my backpack or whatever was on my back was removed, and I landed right on my arm and knocked my head and the whole works, dude. It was a bad bicycle accident. And so I'm sure I was concussed, but back then nobody cares. And so I sit there and I walk my bike with my bent rim back to the house and grab my backpack and all this sort of stuff. And I call my mom and I said, hey, I got in a bike accident and I'm bleeding. I don't really know what to do, because I was like 7th grade. So my mom comes home and she puts peroxide on it, or Neosporin, or whatever magical goo she was going to put on my arm. And so she does that and she covers it with some gauze and she wraps it in an ace bandage and she drops me off at school. And she says, if you start bleeding out of that, here's some more gauze. Go ahead and give it to the teacher and the teacher can do this. So I was in 5th grade. I wasn't in 7th grade. I was in 5th grade. So in 5th grade, I go up to my teacher because I'm bleeding out of my gauze. And I said, hey, can you help me like redo this? Mm-hmm. And she's like, yeah. So she undoes the ace bandage and she opens it up, and it's a maxi pad with wings, bro. So I was wearing a maxi pad on my arm, and I had lost the other maxi pad. Probably at recess or doing something stupid. And so the teacher goes, oh, I have one of those in my purse. Hold on. And so she reaches in her purse. She re-maxi pads my arm, puts ace bandage around it. So yeah, that was probably my first experience with feminine products right there.
Heavy flow, amazing. Bro.
Heavy flow. Dude, there's a good chance that I probably should have had some stitches. I'm not going to lie. But back to some of the things that we used to do as kids. Like I had a trampoline as well. Mm-hmm. And I was a huge fan of wrestling. That was at the time that the Monday Night Wars was happening. You had the WWF versus WCW. And we would there was a handful of us that would all be on the trampoline and we would play tag team wrestling and all this sort of shit. And so we would actually do the wrestling stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so there was this kid named Poncho that I actually got him in the Razor Ramon, whatever his finishing move was. Where you hold him over your shoulders.
Like
and then you slam him. So we would do shit like that. And one time Ponch and I got into an argument. I don't remember what the argument was about, but we got into an argument. And so I told him, I said, I could outdo tricks on my trampoline than he could. But the problem was he was half my size and half my weight. And at the time I wasn't overweight. He was just little. He was littler than you were in grade school. And so he would do flips and I would do flips, and then he would do this and I would do this. So he did a backflip, and I'd never done a backflip before. I was like, fuck yeah, I can do a backflip. So the issue is that I jumped from the center of the trampoline to the edge of the trampoline to get the spring action.
Right. You had to get that bounce action. Yeah.
Yep. I did the backflip. The problem is I didn't land on my feet. So I did the backflip. I missed the opportunity to hit my feet. I landed on my shoulders, which caused my body to go over my head.
Right.
And it squished me in a way that I've never felt before. And my chin was in my chest. And I thought I died. And so did Poncho, actually. Like, Poncho was done arguing with me at that point. He was like, are you dead? Are you dead? I even think because I fell off the trampoline, dude.
Yeah.
I even think he took a stick and prodded me with the stick just to make sure that I was okay. But so that was obviously one of those things. You remember my El Camino?
Oh, yeah. I remember your El Camino.
So I used to take kids our age and put them in the back of the El Camino because I had a tonneau cover. And I would go like 70 miles an hour and just stop and
I
turn and
remember
do
that.
all this sort of shit. You were probably one of those in the back at one
I
point.
was. Yeah.
But the one that probably catches my mind the most, and I don't even remember his last name. So it's a common name. So we're just going to name him anyway. But there was a kid named Jared that we went to school with. He was a year older than us.
Yeah, I know.
And and it was Jared and then our buddy Jim, right? One of our bleach bros.
One of the Bleach Bros.
And then it was my girlfriend at the time, Jim's girlfriend at the time, and I want to say one other person, and then there was a kid named Daniel, Danny, something like that. I don't even remember his name now. And Jared had a tabletop he was building in his backyard, and he had this 500cc bike, and he had a quad, and he had all this sort of shit. And so we're fucking around on the quad while he's on the bike. Well, Jim had never ridden a quad before. And so he puts it, he holds the clutch in, puts it in gear, and then revs it with his thumb all the way up. And I'm like, hey, man, you don't want to do that because you're going to go. He's like, I could do this. So he's sitting on the bike going. The problem was the fucker kept his thumb in and released the clutch. And I've never seen a man float for so long midair before the fucking quad. We had to chase the quad in a car, dude. It was crazy. But probably the most notable thing out of that day was this kid, Daniel, whatever his name was. He took the quad. He had never ridden a quad before either. And he went up one side of the tabletop in a low gear, probably second or third. And he was pinned in that gear. And the problem was that the tabletop wasn't built on the other side. And so he took a tumble on the other side and was very bloody. And of course, here we are ditching school. We can't just, call the ambulance. So we packed him up. We put him in the trunk of the car. We dropped him off at Smoker's Corner. Everybody out there who went to high school, every school has a Smoker's Corner.
Yep.
We told him that he got into a fight with somebody and that's what he should tell people. And so he did. And he was pretty fucked up for a while. I don't really remember all the details with him. And I feel really bad. Like there's a few regrets in my life. I really regret not being helping as comforting to him as I should have been. But welcome to Jackass, right?
Yeah. See, like you mentioned your mom and how loving she was. And my mom, and I mean, we already talked about little people too. I love my mama, but there was one that stuck out. I remember one time, and I had a little brother, and we always had those. He would have his friends over, I'd have my friends over, and so one night we decided to have BB guns versus blow dart wars. Because remember, my mom would buy my brother like throwing knives and like any weapon he wanted.
Yeah,
and so all him and his friends had giant blow dart guns with those big ass needles. So we're playing hide and seek, and when you found somebody, you'd shoot them.
Yep.
Right. So I'm on the roof. And we're all hanging out, like we're all hiding all over the place. And my mom was like, everybody's asleep in my house, or they're supposed to be, right? And you remember my house, it was always crazy, dude. We were that, in the middle of nowhere. And so my brother's like hiding. I don't remember. I think he was on that back concrete pad we had on back. My mom walks outside and he thought it was somebody else and he shot it and he shoots her right in the ass with that dart, right? And my mom starts screaming. So we all run inside and act like we're asleep, right? My team, all the older brothers. My mom goes, everybody get down here. I know you're out of fucking sleep. So we all walk downstairs. My brothers get yelled at. My mom's got a giant needle hanging out of her ass. And we're like, no, Mom, we were asleep. She goes, no, you weren't. You guys are shooting guns at each other and doing stupid shit. So she pulls the needle out. She goes, I want to warn all you boys. This will happen if I catch you at the end. And she loads it and shoots my brother point blank right in the ass in front of everybody. My brother just is standing there. Looks like he wants to cry. Runs upstairs, this little bald ass and his gun. And we all went to bed real quick. But another one in my old house was, and this was my favorite game we ever made. We made a game called Strobe Light Baseball, B-word. And you remember, I was a pretty good ball player, and all of us were. And I had a strobe light, if you remember, and we would play dodgeball with baseballs up in because remember my brother's room and mine was like a big giant living room upstairs. It was a giant
loft.
Yeah. So we were just this two baseball teams, my brother's team and my older brother's team, were hucking baseballs at each other in a strobe light war, right? Just nailing each other. And if you got hit, you're out. the further you got in the game, the lower the intensity of the strobe light you do. So you get to like 2 people and it'd be like, and the light would be on and it would turn off for like 20 seconds. And then you would just hear balls like boom against the wall, breaking shit. And you just hear somebody go, ow. And dude, that was a game that we fucking loved. Looking back on it, one of the stupid, that's why I have so many damn concussions, B-word. That's the type of shit I was doing.
About a dozen episodes ago, we talked about Kermit.
Mm-hmm.
And so I grew up with Kermit. And so if our listeners haven't heard that yet, Kermit is a very special individual, not all too bright, called Kermit basically because he likes the big women and a green light was on him. End of story. But in elementary school and middle school, Kermit and I and others would get together and we would do stupid shit as well. And one of the things that we would do is we would play with BB guns and we would see, okay, how many pumps of the BB gun can we pump and then shoot the other person before it's unbearable. So before it hurts too much. I got to 105 pumps before Kermit's ass cheek couldn't take another one because it literally couldn't take another one because there was one that was stuck in it. So we had to do that. But probably in elementary school, one of the things that we did, and maybe you did this too when we didn't really hang around each other. Did you ever like slam pencils or stab pencils into people to get the lead stuck in the skin?
No. See, that's not something I would do.
To this day, I still have 2 pieces of lead in my arm that have never come out.
Dumb.
And and so you would take mechanical pencils or number 2 pencils or whatever, and you would stab it and then you would break it off. And I still have these 2 pieces of lead in there. I don't know how healthy it is, but I haven't died yet, so we're probably fine.
You're probably
right.
Fine.
And I've gotten tattoos since, and
you're fine.
So I'm sure we're fine. But so anyway, we got a chance to see Jackass Forever. And actually, to set this up, you saw Jackass Forever and you asked me, have you seen it yet? And I hadn't seen it.
Right.
And I watched it and I proceeded to text you throughout the movie about how fucking good it is. Scene after scene.
Dude. I just told you, just a lot of peen, bro. A ton of dick.
Oh, dude, probably the most dick I've seen in a non-porn movie.
My favorite was my brother. As I told you, he was calling me and he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna watch it." And I was like, "Okay." And I was like, "Well, there's a lot of dick." He goes, "I really like the show Spartacus, and there was a ton of penis in that." And I just went, "This is the weirdest conversation I've ever had with my brother." But I digress. The whole movie is just it just goes to show me they would have been Bleach Bros if we hung out with them.
Oh yeah,
dude. I don't know, and I'm not trying to sound like anything, but I have no problem showing my wang to my guy friends. Like I love how comfortable how they're grabbing each other's balls and doing that. I don't know. That's how I grew up, dude. There's nothing wrong with that. It's super hetero, but you're because you're so comfortable with yourself, man. What do you think on that?
That actually makes me feel weird looking back at all of our experiences. But no, I think I agree with you. Like I don't have anything that I'm embarrassed about. Right. So that being the case, like if somebody sees it, somebody sees it. But I think growing up, it was probably a different perspective just because we didn't care. I think it's different for boys. Like you were talking to me earlier today. I think it was today or yesterday, about potty training your son.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure that out.
Yeah, and your mom said just take his diaper off in the summertime.
Just let him piss anywhere. Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like you look at little boys that are just growing up, more often than not, they're naked. Like there's no particular reason for it, but more often than not, they're naked. So growing up, and especially growing up around other boys, like there's a lot of times that wieners are just out. But that's, like you said, it is a hetero thing. And if it's not a hetero thing, we're not judging that either. But long story short, it's just a comfortability thing. I don't know that women do it. Maybe they do. Maybe they don't. I have no clue. But for Jackass Forever, ton of wang.
I know wang, dude. It was just flat paddle wang. B-wang. I would have done. Okay, on the movie. So we're going to get into the review on it. What stunt would you have done on that movie?
Spoiler warning. Spoiler warning. The scene in the beginning with the Godzilla dick or whatever that was. Oh God, dude, that was so funny. I'd have done that.
Okay.
I'd have done that 100%. But that wasn't really a
stunt.
A stunt, right? I have a hard time with the getting hit in the nuts part.
Oh, I don't. I'll play Bangkok all day, bro. I can't wait to hang out with dads on Dayquil. That's gonna be a Bangkok fest.
Well, when we did you ever have a point where you would go around and sack your friends?
Yeah, Bangkok, bro. You go up and you
see. Okay, so you called it Bangkok. See, we called it sacking.
Okay.
And so you just go up and you sack them. You just hit them, right?
Yeah.
Well, so I've been sacked. I don't even know how many times. A lot of times.
I've sacked.
So yeah. So we go through the whole sackage part of it. Like that's fine. I would do that. I wouldn't do it with the hockey puck, and I wouldn't do it with the UFC dude. I don't even remember his name. Yeah, he's got
all that.
No,
yeah,
fuck
would,
you.
Dude. Yeah, I would, dude. Don't even.
Oh,
care.
I'm not saying you wouldn't do it. I'm saying I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, you know I would do it. I don't care.
Yeah,
dude. I slammed my dick in a refrigerator door in high school just to see what happened.
I would do. There's a majority of the stunts that I would probably do. The whole slide. I don't know if what were they putting on there? Some sort of lube. I don't know what. Some lube, and it looked like lube and water, basically. That looked like a lot of fun, but that also looked like a lot of pain. But I would do it. Is there anything on Jackass Forever that you wouldn't do? Like I know of one scene that I probably there's one or two scenes. No, there's two scenes for sure that I wouldn't do.
The bear.
But is there? Yeah, I wouldn't do the bear.
And here's why: because I think I would actually. I would be so scared. I would cause so much fear in the room. I think I would cause a problem. I would do the bull though. I would get hit by the bull like Johnny Knoxville does. I have no problem with that. I would totally do the bees on the wang. I have no problem putting something on my wang.
The bees on the wang look like it would hurt, but it would be something that I would do once. Like you could talk me into doing it once.
Yeah.
I forgot about getting hit by the bull.
I wouldn't lick the taser. I don't like electricity.
I don't know. I would probably lick the taser. And here's the thing, millennials, if you put your tongue in another person's butt, lick the taser. It's fine.
That's true. I've licked the ends of those batteries, the 9 volts. So
it's just, it's exponential from that. But
I guess the hard one for me is like the snake on the face could have done. The scorpion, I don't know. It's more just, I think if I see it, like I would have loved to have been in the contest with you with the spider in the two bubbles.
Oh God, that would have been funny.
Because mainly I would have gotten bad breath on purpose to been a dick. Like I would have gotten ass mouth just because like just straight up garlic and just nasty fish just to really piss you off even more. I don't even care if I lose with the spider game. I'll just do that so you're in a bubble with me.
The one other one that I wouldn't do is when they blow up the fucking Sandy huts.
Oh really?
Like if I had a choice to not do that, like I knew up front that this is what was going to happen. Like, fuck that, dude. I don't deal with shit very well. I'm not like, and especially during COVID, like this was filmed during COVID. So you got the cameraman that's seeing all these scenes and he's just yakking in the mask. Like the KN95 or whatever is just full of puke. Like there's no way that I would do that.
What'd you think of the movie overall though?
Oh, dude, I loved it. And here's the reason why is because so Jackass started out as a television show when we were in high school?
It started out as CKY.
Well, CKY2K.
Movies, yeah.
Or was it CKY or was it CKY2K?
CKY, and that was the second one. 2K is the other one.
Okay.
So CKY is the crew, yeah.
So I remember watching those, and I don't remember what age I was when I was watching those. I remember I wasn't supposed to watch those. Like my mom completely forbade me from watching those, but then they ended up with the Jackass television series, and then they had the Jackass movie, and then they had Jackass 2 and et cetera, so forth. Right. And the franchise has expanded, but it had been a while aside from like the Bad Grandpas where there had been new content.
Yeah.
And what I loved about this one, it seemed like there were fresh faces. Mm-hmm. There was like a renewed energy. Mm-hmm. For the most part, as far as I know, everybody was clean and sober, which kind of created another effect. Yeah, Bam wasn't there, but that also created an effect too, right? Like watching Steve-O with clarity, mm-hmm. and then going through this shit. Like to me, that was a symbol of growth. I mean, it's a symbol of growth. So getting kicked in the nuts and putting bees on his dick,
lighting farts on fire underwater.
Yeah, yeah, but no, dude, I loved it. I love this one. This one, I laughed almost at every single scene. I love the fact that MGK got smacked the shit out of. Like that was one of the best scenes. I fucking hate MGK, so there we go. The bear scene, oh my god, dude, I fucking laughed and I had tears. I was laughing so hard. That was so funny. You want to for people who haven't seen it and are listening, you want to try to tell the bear scene a little bit?
I mean, he's sitting there in a chair and they pour honey on him and raw salmon and they just let a giant fucking grizzly bear go in the room and start eating off of him.
But they've also got a shock collar.
They got a shock collar on him. Whenever he tells a lie, they shock him. So he's getting shocked while he's freaking out and getting a bear trying to eat out of his crotch.
And he's tied up.
Yeah, and he can't move. I mean, so I don't know. It was an amazing movie. And for multiple reasons, like you said, I loved the new cast. I love the three they brought in. I hate that they call them poopsies. I understand why, but it's just, I don't know. It just bothers me. Loved the new cast, the fresh faces. It was like the changing of the guard, but it was also the fact, like you said, there was clarity. You saw how good of friends they were, that they can come back and do this again. They still would do the stunts. They didn't puss out, but when, there was moments they're like, yeah, you don't need to do this anymore. We're going to have these guys do it. But the final thing was it showed that like true friendships, like me and you, right? I'll put that in there. We can get back together in like probably 20 years and still do the same have the same type of fun and everything. And I don't know, that's what it just showed me, true friendship on film and like things I enjoyed. And it hit the nostalgia fact button like huge, where I was watching it going, I love everything about this. I love seeing these people. I enjoy it. I laughed very hard. I loved the movie overall, and I was surprised, like, because it's not that I thought it was going to be bad. At first, I was just going into it going, okay, it's just another Jackass film.
Yeah.
And it just seems so much more this time. If that makes sense.
And it wasn't like I mean, yes, the budget was bigger, right? Yes, there were more things in it than there was in the original Jackass. There was more cast, there was more explosives, there was a whole bunch more shit. But what they did with it and the manner that they did it with was just awesome, dude. It was pure. It was like we're enjoying watching this again. Like you said, there was the nostalgic part of it. It was comical. They brought in celebrities, if you will, that also took part in different things. I thought all of that was good, dude. I fucking loved it.
I thought they did a great job working around COVID, and I also thought they did a great job of including the stars. Not that they didn't before, but it was almost like behind the scenes the whole time. Like everybody was getting fucked up in this film.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was just awesome to see. It was also awesome to see them actually fulfill some of the things they've been trying to do forever, or like the side-by-sides when you saw at the end Johnny Knoxville get hit by that bull, and it was similar to the yak. It's sad to see, they get injured, but you also know what you're doing.
Well, and they know the risk.
Well, and like you said, you were watching this at an age you probably shouldn't have. I was doing this when I probably shouldn't have been doing it at all. You remember hanging out with me. I would do this type of stuff. I didn't back down. Somebody asked me to eat something, I was most likely going to do it. I don't know. Especially my brother. My brother's more brave than me. You know that. I mean, he did some crazy. My brother was like Steve-O. He would do some crazy shit. I was more like Johnny Knoxville, to be honest. Like I would just be out there and get everybody on board with, let's go do some stupid shit right now. But if you had to, B-word, rank the Jackass films, top to bottom, no honorable mentions, how you doing it?
Are we including Bad Grandpa?
You can. So if you want to, and I'll ask you this: do you want to just do the 4 Jackass films, or do you want to include? Well, I know there's the 2.5 and the 3.5. I get that.
No. I those are kind of cop outs, to be honest with you. I think you go 1 through 4. And I know that we put out some marketing for this episode that included those, but I don't really count those as part of it. It's like watching, The Lion King 1.5.
Right.
It's just like what's the point?
Straight to DVD, sequel.
Yeah.
With like background commentary. Don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Let's do it this way. Just the 4 Jackass films. Don't include Bad Grandpa, any of that. How you rank in the Jackass films?
It's a good thing that we're not putting Bad Grandpa in there, because those would be at the bottom. And then 2.5 and 3.5 would be below that. I think I'm going to go in descending order. So I think I'm going to go top to bottom, because I think it's easier for me to rank it that way. And I don't know if this is a cop out. I mean, we've talked about how the newest thing and the thing that we feel more recent probably ranks higher than that long term. But I've got to go number one is Jackass Forever.
Yeah.
I loved everything about it. I love how they brought back other stunts that they had brought back before, or that they had incorporated them in a different way in this time around. So Jackass Forever for me is going to be number one. Jackass Two or Jackass number two is going to be number two. I think there's a sizable difference between Jackass 1 and 2, both in budget and in stunts, that made it higher quality and also made it more interesting from a viewer's perspective and also more comedic. So number two, I'm going to go Jackass, the original, as number three, and then Jackass 3 as number four.
We're close. We're similar. For me, I'll go in the same order as you to make it easy. And I'm not trying to do the cop out of an original thing, but number one, Jackass, the original Jackass is number one for me. And I think the reason is it was one of the first times we saw, it'd be like if America's Funniest Home Video tried to make a movie.
Yeah.
You'd be like, what the fuck are you doing? Like when Jackass, the movie, was getting announced, I'm like, why would I go pay to see that? I already can watch the show. Like, what are they going to do? And then seeing how they did it and how much fun it was. And yes, it was just the show, but it was longer, and it was sort of like South Park, bigger, longer, uncut, right? But they pulled it off. So I love the original one. Number two is Forever. And the main reason it's number two is because I do believe in that. I've watched it now because I called you and told you after I watched it, I watched all the other ones to catch up.
Yeah.
And then I was excited because I wanted to do this episode. And this was weeks ago. But there were people missing from it. And I'm not saying Bam was my favorite, but I think that had something to do with it. It also hit the nostalgia point. I think, you know, there was a little bit of guardedness. Not that I want them to all go get fucking hurt and everything, but you could also tell like some of the stunts that you're like, yeah, we're just not going to do that, or they might not go full bore. Number three would be Jackass 2. I went and saw it in the theaters for the red carpet premiere. When you remember, that's when I had my radio show with the Travesty, and we got invited to go see it, and I had to take a hooker. That
I remember you telling me about that.
Which is another story for another day. But no, that one was good, and I agree with you. The budget was there. I love the intro of it. And the reason it's landing here on my list just because 1 and 4 are probably my favorite too, and like as I named, 3 is bottom of the list though for me. Even if Bad Grandpa was on here, I'd put Bad Grandpa above it because here's the thing: the intro's fine. It's very fun. They tried to do the thing that a lot of 3 films do, like Jaws and stuff. Let's make it 3D. And I'm like, I don't need Steve-O's shit flying at me at the screen. Like, you know what I mean? So that was one problem. It just felt so fake too. If you watch it back now, there are scenes in that, like one when Johnny Knoxville's in the there's like a pool in some rich guy's backyard, and they're on a jet ski and they jump it.
Yeah.
The way they're all cheering each other on made it seem so Hollywood and like fake, like so, what's the word? Like not
Forced.
Not genuine. It was forced.
Yeah.
It was gratuitous. It was just, there were
staged.
There were parts like, hey, we got to cheer each other on because we're doing this stunt. And every time I watch it, it's like you watch those scenes, you're just like, man, there are some really good stunts in there. Don't get me wrong. And there's some funny moments, and the cast is great. But it really felt like a cash grab to me, that film, where it was like, hey, we're successful. And that's why I think Jackass Forever at first, when I saw it coming out, I was like, oh, okay, like, you know, they're older and they're doing the Evander Holyfield thing. They just need one last fight, right? It didn't feel like that. Jackass 3 felt that way to me. Like they just needed to make the money that they needed to keep going. So that would be the bottom for me. I don't, that one doesn't have a lot of redeeming qualities.
I could see all of that. Is there, regardless of the of what movie, is there a stunt that you find either the most hilarious or the most notable?
The most hilarious, just because it's recent, and also I don't know, I could not stop laughing. I don't know why. It was the bear. I just couldn't uncontrollably, like, I was laughing, and because it's like I could actually picture that's a stunt I can picture myself doing. Like I can't picture myself doing some of them because I'm not as athletic, or you know what I mean?
Right.
But to be honest, and this is going to sound weird, my favorite thing on Jackass, and maybe this is because this is who I'd be, is Chris Pontius, or is it
Pontius.
Pontius, Party Boy.
Yeah.
Because B-word, I could be fucking Party Boy. I could go into a place in a thong and just dance around. And I mean, I think that's what made it great is he didn't need to do the crazy stunts. He's just a lovable, great guy. And I don't know. I just that's probably my favorite. And I know it might seem weird in a cop out, but I'd put Bear number one and then anything Chris Pontius does, like just Party Boy style. Because I love seeing people uncomfortable in real life. It's different when you know somebody's going to fly into a brick wall. It's different though when you're out with your fiance at a famous dinner and there's a dude dancing on your table in a thong for no reason.
Right. Yeah, the element of surprise is pretty good with that. I think probably the most notable for me was in Jackass 2 when they did the riot control test, where they brought out the riot grade weaponry and went through that. That just looks so fucking painful, dude. Like, so that would probably be it. But the funniest one for me is the bear, and I don't know why. I don't know why it was so funny. I think it had to do with the reaction. Like he was already scared going in. He already didn't want to be tied down. He already didn't want to have honey poured all over him. When the honey got stuck in his eye and he's freaking out and he's like, I got honey in my eye. I got honey in my eye. And then they dump the salmon on him and he still has no clue why. And everybody escapes. And then they introduce the bear. And they start shocking him. Oh my God, dude. I laughed and I laughed and I laughed.
As we're talking about this, though, I was remembering one scene in that movie, and this is from Forever, where they did the blackout room with the fake studio room they built with the snakes. And dude, I fucking lost it where they were fucking with us so bad. And then they made another fake escape room that they got fucked up in as well, where the fat guy just jumps on the shit, just starts getting shocked and mousetrapped. That just showed me, like, it reminds me of when I hung out with my guy friends in baseball and you just couldn't trust anybody. You couldn't trust a fucking soul. Because you knew somebody was going to fuck with you. And that's
everybody's
what it felt
gonna
like.
fuck with you.
Because I could imagine, like, if I was in that scene, I'd be like, no, I'm not leaving this room. I'm never leaving this room. I will, like, when he was like, I'm going to live here forever, I'd be like, I would have been that way too, because I don't want to walk out the door. I don't know what you're going to do to me.
As you were explaining that, and I'm sure you saw it, I was taking a drink of water. And the water came out my nose. And the reason why the water came out my nose is because as soon as you said the dark room, I was like, holy shit. That was funny. That the best part about it was that they introduced this venomous snake. I think it's a venomous rattlesnake, and then they put the snake away, but it's a dark room where they intimate that the snake is still there. Everybody's reaction in that shit was so funny, and then that's what makes this one so pure. Is that this one was done naturally. This one wasn't forced in any way. Being Jackass Forever. And it was done very, very well. And I love the mesh of the old cast and the new cast. But last question to you, Jake. Do you have a favorite cast member?
Johnny Knoxville.
Johnny Knoxville.
I love his demeanor, how he goes about it. I think he has the star quality. There are other people in the show. Like I said, I think Chris Pontius would be second that I relate to, and Steve-O I'm a fan of, and I'm a fan of all of them. I mean, but he's just my favorite, just the leading star. What about you?
So I really liked Ryan Dunn before he died.
Yeah.
And it's kind of sad to see what his death, how it played for everybody. I think the one with the most personality was Steve-O. Originally when this came out. And so I think I always identified Jackass with Johnny Knoxville and Steve-O. But Johnny Knoxville was the head of it, if you will. And so I never really attached myself with Johnny Knoxville in any way. I like Johnny Knoxville a lot. I like him both as an actor and I like him in Jackass. But for Steve-O, I thought that Steve-O was a very natural number two, if you will. And the stunts that he did, he didn't look back. He just fucking did it.
Yeah.
And so I always appreciated that. And then, my close second would be Wee Man. Okay. I just love little people.
Mhm.
I'd love to do midget tossing, or it's just something weird like that. Like that would just be fucking hilarious. And you'll be surprised, man. Well, you won't be. The audience will be surprised. I have a shit ton of messages from just random people sending me midget videos, and I fucking love it. If we're connected in any way, shape, or form, send me midget videos. It's fucking hilarious.
So we're connected in the podcast community pretty deep, and we've made a lot of friends through this. If you were to cast a Jackass film with people in the community that we work with, who are you putting in it?
Well, we're definitely putting Gnome as Wee Man.
Yes, we are.
You know who I'd like to see in this, who I think would just be fucking hilarious, is I think if we were to take Mike from Happy Hour
Mm-hmm.
and cast him in this to do shit like this, like I would like to see Mike in that bear room.
Okay.
Because I think it'd be funnier than fuck, just because I don't know what his reaction would be, and because I don't know what his reaction would be, my reception to that would be completely natural.
Well, I would also give Gunner the control.
Oh fuck yeah!
The shock collar. I could just see Gunner me egging him on for the salty intonation. Do it again. Just shock the shit out of him. Shock him. No, I see. I thought of stunts for people like Trash Can Tabby. Speaking of Happy Hour podcast, I would have her like, in the mime, like licking the
Be the bear.
No, like I'd have her like licking the taser or doing like the lip, like with the
or the scorpion.
Aaron Deshotel from I Had to Say It. I'm putting him down the big lube slide.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
The person I'm afraid of, to be honest, is Dome from Dad's on Dayquil. I don't really want to put him in anything because I don't know. Like,
I feel like he would just start tossing haymakers.
I think he'd be the guy. Like if we did the blackout room, he would just be like, I'm never moving. Like I'm gonna live here. Fuck you guys. I'm never talking to you again. Like AJ, I would love to do something like super stoned. Like get him stoned. Say, hey, we're gonna do a munchie challenge, and then like tie him down, and then put like Twinkies on him and have vultures eat it like they did.
Yeah.
Gnome, of course, is Wee Man, but I would also have the Inner Idiot guys on there.
Oh yeah,
and I would have Shorty Hoffman be like Party Boy because he never wears a shirt anyways. I would have him just go everywhere.
I can see that,
and just be himself. Like because I think that's just natural too. Like he wouldn't probably have to act. He just walk in and go, "Hey guys, I'm Shorty. Whatever. I'm in a thong." Like I would just do that.
I'd want the guys from Four Too Many to join us as well, because I think that, just like me, they've got some fluffiness going on, and I think that would be really fun to do that lube slide. But I also think, for us fluffy guys, when they're doing like the wedgie challenge.
Yeah, see, I'd be the wedgie. I'd be in the middle. I would still be in the middle for you guys. That would be fucking hilarious. I would do it.
Fucked. Oh my God. But yeah, no, I think this would be a funny hypothetical thing. If you told me you were setting it up and it was real, I don't know that I would want to take part in it for multiple reasons. So there we are there. But before we end this today, mm-hmm. we put out some stuff on social media in regard to people becoming a salty hippo. Mm-hmm. And what we're willing to do is for any of you that would like to become a member of the Salty Hippo Nation, we will send you for free 5 Sal the Salty Hippo stickers for you to plaster around in areas like bars, concert halls, restaurants, notable landmarks, etc. in your area. And no cost to you. The only requirement is that you have to be able to take a picture of it. You have to send us the picture and the location, and you also need to be a follower of our show. Mm-hmm. So if you are interested in doing that, make sure to send us a message on any of our socials at Bleach Bros Pod, and we'll get you some stickers.
And thank you to those already in the nation that are already doing this. We are loving the adhesive graffiti. It is awesome so far.
The overt advertising and the adhesive graffiti and the Salty Hippo Nation and the Get Sanitized. We love all of it. It's nice. We've got stickers in Texas. We've got stickers in Colorado. We've got stickers in Utah. We've got stickers in Washington and Oregon, and Nevada.
Arizona. I mean,
Arizona.
They're spreading around, man. It's getting there. We got some on tops of mountains, and yeah.
Yeah, we just sent some to Oklahoma. We've sent some to Kentucky. We've sent some to Ohio. So make sure that if you want to take part in it, if you want to become a member of the Salty Hippo Nation, that's all you have to do. Just follow us. Get the stickers, put them out, Take the photos, DM them to us so that way we can post it. We'll even tag you in it if we can, if you'd like for us to, and then go from there. So with that, Jake, what do you got for us?
Thanks for all the dirty talk. Come back and get sanitized. This is Jake from the Bleach Bros podcast, and thank you for listening to today's episode. I want to bring to your attention our Linktree. Visit Linktree/Bleach Bros podcast for access to all of our socials, merch, and streaming sites. Linktree is linktr.ee/Bleach Bros podcast, all one word. And if you enjoy our content, make sure to give us a like, give us a review on whatever platform you are listening on, and also invite your friends.